People will see your success overnight and label it an overnight success. What they won't see was the countless nights toiling without success, the repeated failures, the sleepless nights, the worries, the anxieties, the fears, the doubts, and so on. They won't see all the times you were rejected. They won't see all the times you took a risk. They won't see all the times that you got close to giving up but decided to keep pushing through. And they might say that you got lucky, or they might say that things worked out. But the reality is, you get lucky when you try long enough that you have no choice but to eventually be lucky, right? Because you've been unlucky for so long that luck is right around the corner. The reality is, overnight successes are never overnight successes. There's like 5, 10 years of effort that goes behind it, whether it's skill acquisition, networking, building, learning, making mistakes along the way, figuring out what doesn't work. Most people, when they have something succeed, they've had so many things fail before it that it was inevitable that they would succeed eventually. But the reality is, people don't want to see the success as something that took all of that because they want to be able to replicate it with the minimal amount of effort and risk and discomfort, which is why they'll ask you for, you know, what are your tips? As if tips could, make up the entire length of the journey that you went through and are still going through to get to that point where they ask you for tips. And yeah, the reality, tips are just not enough. Tips cannot encapsulate. Like, we live in a very tip centric culture. It's the sort of, BuzzFeed style article, like listicle, the top 10 things you can do to accomplish whatever it is. When it just comes down to the fundamentals, right? Like, are you willing to show up? Are you willing to block the time and do the deep work? And are you willing to take the risks? Are you willing to do what needs to be done rather than like check your email or do the 100 other things that feel productive but aren't? And if you can do these things, then you will eventually succeed. And you have to be willing to do it long enough. That's the other part, right? You can't just do it for a week and then say, well, I tried, it didn't work. It's not going to happen for me. And that's the sad part, is that this overnight reality mentality infects a lot of people, and they believe that they're doing something wrong if they aren't a millionaire by 21, right? But you're not doing anything wrong. You just have to keep doing it for another 5, 10 years, and you'll see the results. So I have some news. I recently accepted a job, so I'll be starting on Monday, and I started tracking my finances month over month. And I'm just going to see how quickly can I save up to 100K. Since the first 100K is the hardest to save, once I get to 100K, it'll be a pretty big milestone in my life. And also, it will start compounding on itself significantly. And then the next 100K will be so much faster than the first one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to making a video, you know, in a couple of years, going like how I went from 0 to 100K in X time, without a six-figure job. I think that'll be fun. And yeah, so just looking forward to the possibility of making that video is part of the motivation to save and invest aggressively. So find your North Star, find the thing that gives you the motivation to do the right things and the discipline to stick to it, so that even when it gets tough, you can use that reason to remind yourself, oh, this is what I'm doing it for, and then you can stick to it.